Okay, you joined me on a return visit to a lake, not a system, but a lake that I've been to before. After filling up the car, petrol prices at the moment, I'm glad I've got a plug-in hybrid. This is about the only time I actually need to put fuel in the cars for these trips. Hopefully it's worth it. I'm going back to this place. Couple of reasons. I've sort of discovered it recently and I've got more to get out of it, but also it's likely to be my last chance to get to the location that I like, because it's on the opposite side of the lake to the entry, so I've got to drive all the way across the lake bed to get there, and we've got some weather coming in, and that place, once it gets wet, it's no way you can get across. So that's my plan. I'm going to be experimenting with some lighting of scenes, foregrounds and the like. Not necessarily light painting, but something a little bit different. There's a reason for that, which I'm going to go into in more depth later on in the video when I've shared them before, these opinions, but I feel more strongly about them than ever, and they're probably a bit controversial in the world of Astro-landscapes, so might upset a few people, but it's not meant to be a criticism of anyone else. And I think that, oh no, it is. I thought it wasn't filming. So it's not going to be criticizing anyone else's technique or methods or anything else, but it's just some concerns I have for my own work and what I feel keeps it relevant and at least valuable to me, if no one else. But I'll get more into that a little bit later on. Anyhows, hopefully we'll have a clear night and I'll get a lot done. Oh yeah, the last time I came out to this lake, I set my alarm to wake me up for when the Milky Way core was coming up, and my phone battery died and I slept through till nearly 4 in the morning, and by that stage the moon was up and I just didn't have enough time to do anything worthwhile. So it was kind of a wasted night, so I'm coming back to try and redeem myself, hopefully. We'll see how it goes. Alright, it's really blowing tonight, so great to cook with electricity and not gas. So what we've got is some shin ramen, and that's just about ready to boil. That's quick. That little kettle, shin ramen, some leftover barbecue steak, and some spring onion. Alright, so we'll turn the kettle off for a second because that's already boiled. Man, she's quick. And an egg, which I'm going to poach in there. So what we're going to do, cut up the steak using, now this is a very special knife. It's like the old Crocodile Dundee thing. That's not a knife, that's a knife. This is my new camp knife. This was made by the late father of a friend of mine who let's start that again. Made by the late father of a friend of mine, handmade, hand forged, basically Damascus steel, and it was an unfinished blade that my friend gifted to me after his father passed, and I've made it into, put a handle on it and sharpened it up and etched it to reveal the beauty of this thing. So we're going to use that tonight. It's a giant knife and I love it. So we're going to cut up our steak. And yeah, as you can see, yeah, that's a knife. Yeah, and that steak has been sitting in a sesame oil with spring onion and garlic. So there'll be that, and the spring onion, which will also be joining our ramen noodles. This thing is a little Burko kettle. Yeah, amazing little thing. It's fully stainless steel, no exposed elements or anything. You can basically do anything with it, which in this case, and it comes with a little egg poacher. In this case, we're going to cook our ramen. And this is something. Will it fit? Oh, almost, but not quite. What a shame. Okay, would have been nice if it was perfectly ramen coated, but that's where we're at. Flavor sachets. Nothing fancy tonight. And this is where I need my voltage reducer. So, hang 5. All right, this is where this magic little device comes in. That turns an electric appliance into basically as controllable as a gas appliance. I've now got a voltage knob, so I can change exactly how much power is going into that, just like turning a gas knob. So I can get a full boil, or I can turn it down, which is what I need to do, because I've got to put a bit of oil in here. That the steak's been marinating in. And crack my egg into it. Like so. And then steam it. And yeah, there we have it. There's our poached egg. There's our warm through steak. There's our ramen noodles. Put the rest of this steak in. And that will just warm through. Spring onions. All of the good bits. Our reheated steak and our poached egg. And that is a very quick and pretty decent ramen noodle. That's dinner. I came out here ostensibly to rephotograph a tree. But on the way up here, it occurred to me I had some controversial things to say. Particularly with the rise of AI generation, or AI in general. There's a rabbit hole. AI slop is corrupting everything. But, and it comes down to the things that I'm actually been trying to do. I'm quite late to astro-landscape photography. I've got a successful photography business that's completely different to this. But I keep the same sensibilities in that I want to capture the image in camera. Because I don't want to spend time editing. If I'm doing a job and I've got to do, and I take 500, 1,000 images, I don't want to spend time editing those images. I want to get them right in camera. So I've started to experiment with lighting my scenes with astrophotography. And particularly when it comes to panoramas, I can't light paint. And also, I don't like compositing, which might, I don't know, it might annoy some people, but I try to capture the image as it is in front of me when I take it. So all of my panoramas, they are one-shot panoramas. And all of my stills are one-shot stills. There is no separate foreground taken earlier in the day. There is no blue hour. It's all taken at the same time. There's no stacking, there's no tracking. I don't feel the need to track the Milky Way because, you know, you keep it under a certain exposure. You've got great cameras with great sensors. You've got, you know, fast aperture lenses. We don't necessarily need to capture the ultimate detail in the Milky Way because it's how it interacts with the landscape. So I'm experimenting with lighting. I've started using my drone to do that, particularly for panoramas, because I can actually pretty much send a studio light into the sky, which I find, yeah, it's fun. But The main reason for it is because with the rise of generative AI, you know, we're dealing with images now that can replicate any landscape with accuracy, but there's no essential integrity to it. So as a photographer, I want to make sure that my images are true. They're exactly what I saw and captured in that moment. Because there's so much AI slop now. And that AI slop is training more AI slop. So I want what I do to be as real as it can be. It might not be as good as some of the best. It certainly isn't. But I know it's real, and that's important to me. Okay, I can get a little bit ranty when I'm out in the field, on the road and under the sky. So I'm just going to clarify a few things about what I was saying. And in particular, I'm going to go through a piece of software that is AI well, it'll be an interesting demonstration, I think, about whether we have the need to capture stacked, tracked Milky Way images to get an impressive image. I think now, like I said, with AI, we have a bit of a duty, I think, to make sure that what we're capturing is something that the average person can at least get a little bit of a chance of seeing. One of the types of shots that annoy me more than any other is the meteor shower shots, where images collected over a number of nights are stacked together, and people have this expectation that where they can go out when there's a meteor shower and there's just going to be this, it's, you know, we're not the Hubble, we're not the James Webb telescope. We're out there to capture something that the average person can appreciate, I think. So what I'm going to do next, I'm not into screen captures and stuff, so I'm just going to like zoom in and go through the details. This is the only AI software and noise reduction software that I'm using, and it's called Image Restore AI, and it's not expensive, very small developer, I think, and it's the only piece of AI, and I've tried the demos of Topaz and DxO and everything else, and what they tend to do to anything with a sky, a nighttime sky in it, is they create artifacts in amongst the stars. Like, they see patterns that aren't actually there and create these bizarre shapes in the sky. This software doesn't do that, and you can change the level of influence that it actually has, and it also does another thing that when I go through the with the close-ups, that really helps with a Milky Way type astro landscape. But I'll change the camera and see how we go. Okay, I've just grabbed a random image that I took on the night, and there's a couple of things I want people to notice. And one is, okay, the right hand side is the after the noise reduction, and the left side is before. Now, a couple of things that are kind of obvious. One, the noise reduction does actually reduce some of the smaller stars. So, again, because I don't like over-processing images, I'm not going to go into Star Exterminator plugins and remove all of the stars and then put the Milky Way back in. Again, because it's not an image that people are going to see. It's not real. Those stars are there, but this does actually reduce a little bit the overall impact of those smaller stars. And the other thing, if I zoom right in, and this is an important thing, and down to my point. Now, I'm shooting a Sony A7R5, and the amount of noise in these images is negligible. It's really hard to spot it, and especially once you blow up an image to this size, which is like 20,000 pixels horizontally. It's a huge image. It's a massive image, and I haven't actually done any selective adjustments in the Milky Way, so just a gradation filter to boost contrast slightly. That's basically it. I don't see the need to stack or track or give it any more impact than that. So people might not agree with me, and I guess the other point I'm making is yeah, the noise reduction software works really well, but also, is it needed? I mean, it has the little side benefit of reducing the some of those stars and bringing out the Magellanic Clouds, but there's no excessive noise in this image on a high megapixel camera. So, I don't know. I'll leave it up to people to make up their own mind. Oh, and yes, the software Image Restore AI, it only works locally on your computer. So it downloads the models, and it's only operating on your system. Nothing is uploaded, so it's completely controllable. If we just pan around a little bit, yeah, that was smooth. You've got different options, and you can actually control the amount of reduction it does. It's got a few other features as well, but I'm not going into those. So yeah, and there's a terrible bit of panorama compositing there, but we'll deal with that later. Oh, and here's the other thing. When we stop chasing perfection with an astro image, we get what's actually happening in the sky when you're taking single shots rather than spending 30 minutes to take a Milky Way image. In this case, we've got the clouds starting to come in, which create a dramatic sky, and I think
that's just adds to the image. And I'll go down to another one, and in this case the light cloud cover that was coming in, that eventually ended the night because it just yeah, pretty much whited out, but it's created its own kind of star softening filter. And again, it's the sort of image you can only capture if you're taking it there and then. Anyway, I hope that's made my point. It's not trying to be clever or particularly controversial, but yeah, it's just an opinion. Make of it what you will.